In the soft light of early morning, beneath the gentle hum of a waking city, Ethan adjusted his worn denim coveralls as he prepared for another day in his modest auto repair shop. The clang of metal on metal and the rhythmic tap of his hammer were the familiar beats of his daily symphony. Yet, today carried a different air, a silent promise of fate's mysterious interventions. Ethan was not just a mechanic fixing cars. He was an artist of metal and a quiet believer in the unexpected kindness of strangers. Ethan's shop was tucked away on a narrow side street in a busy part of town, a humble establishment that many overlooked. His reputation, however, was anything but unnoticed. Neighbors and regulars knew him as a man with a generous heart, always willing to lend a hand even when his own pockets were thin. Despite his modest means, he believed that a simple act of kindness could create ripples far beyond the confines of his small workshop. Today, his hands were destined to script yet another chapter in that belief. That morning, as the city began to stir, a battered sedan rolled slowly to a halt in front of his shop. Its paint was dulled by time and weather, and the engine coughed in protest. At first glance, the car appeared abandoned, but a closer look revealed a lone figure slumped behind the wheel, a stranger caught in the grip of misfortune. Without hesitation, Ethan stepped forward, his innate compassion overriding any hesitation. "Let's see what we can do for you," he murmured, inviting the stranger inside the warmth of his humble shop. As he inspected the car, the stranger, a weary traveler with eyes that told stories of long, arduous journeys, watched silently. Ethan discovered that the engine had suffered serious damage, a victim of both neglect and fate's cruel hand. In that moment, the decision was clear. He would fix the car for free, not for the promise of payment, but for the satisfaction of doing what was right. With determined hands, Ethan set to work, his every motion filled with purpose and the unspoken hope that this act of service would someday be repaid in kind. Time slipped by as the sun climbed higher. The rhythmic clatter of tools against metal and the soft murmur of the wind were the only witnesses to his silent vow. With each bolt tightened and each piece replaced, Ethan's thoughts wandered to dreams he once held close. A dream of a better life, of a career that could uplift not just him, but his family and his community. But dreams, like old cars, often required unexpected repairs and a touch of fate. About 2 minutes into his labor of love, a pause in the mechanical cadence that allowed the morning's light to filter in through dusty windows, a brief interlude of reflection washed over him. In that quiet moment, as the steady sound of his work provided a comforting rhythm, Ethan felt compelled to reach out to the unseen hearts who might be watching his journey unfold. If you're enjoying this story of hope and perseverance, his inner voice urged gently, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share it with someone who might need a little inspiration today. For a few seconds, the shop echoed with this silent call to action, a reminder that every act of kindness, every story of genuine care, deserves to be celebrated and shared. Energized by that fleeting moment of connection, Ethan resumed his work with renewed vigor. The stranger's eyes, now filled with cautious hope, followed every movement of the skilled mechanic. The atmosphere in the workshop shifted subtly from one of quiet routine to a tableau of mutual respect and shared destiny. With the final parts carefully installed, the engine roared back to life, a sound as sweet as a symphony and as promising as the first light of dawn. Outside, the stranger's face slowly transformed from a mask of despair to one of gratitude. In a rare moment of vulnerability, he confessed that the car was all he had left, a means of escaping a troubled past and a hope for a new beginning. Ethan's quiet act of service was not merely about fixing a car. It was about giving someone the chance to start over. The mechanic, whose own life had been filled with small, unheralded victories, recognized that every repair was a step towards redemption, a chance to rebuild what had been broken. As the repaired car glimmered under the afternoon sun, the stranger stepped out, his eyes glistening with unspoken thanks. With a firm handshake and a soft smile, they parted ways, each carrying with them the weight and warmth of a moment that would forever linger in memory. Ethan returned to his workbench, the echo of the day's events mingling with the scent of oil and metal, a reminder that every encounter, no matter how brief, held the power to transform lives. The day wore on, and as dusk began to settle, Ethan found himself reflecting on the delicate interplay of fate and human kindness. In the quiet solitude of his workshop, he scribbled a note on a scrap of paper. A simple thought: kindness is the fuel that powers our dreams. Little did he know, that note would soon be echoed back to him in ways he could scarcely imagine. As twilight deepened, casting long shadows across the city streets, Ethan closed up shop for the day, his heart a little lighter and his spirit quietly buoyed by the promise of tomorrow. The engine of life had been restarted, not just for the stranger, but for himself as well. In that moment, amidst the quiet hum of a world winding down, he allowed himself a rare moment of hope. The echoes of the day whispered that sometimes, the simplest acts of kindness could spark miracles, paving the road to dreams once thought unreachable. Ethan stepped out into the cooling night, the city's distant lights flickering like stars. His mind brimmed with quiet anticipation, unaware that a single act of compassion had set in motion a series of events that would soon change his own life forever. And so, with the night embracing him, the mechanic walked home, each step measured, each breath a silent prayer to the universe for more moments of grace. A week had passed since that fateful day when Ethan closed his shop with a heart full of quiet hope. The golden hues of sunrise had given way to the cool clarity of early autumn, and the city's rhythm had shifted into a brisk pace. Yet, in the midst of this bustling life, Ethan's thoughts still lingered on the stranger's grateful gaze and the silent promise of dreams rekindled by a single act of kindness. On a crisp Monday morning, as Ethan sipped his bitter coffee while scanning the day's repair schedule, an unexpected vibration on his workbench phone broke his routine. The screen lit up with an unfamiliar number, and his pulse quickened with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Hesitantly, he answered, his voice tentative yet steady. "Hello." A calm, authoritative voice spoke from the other end, a voice that carried the cadence of opportunity and the weight of destiny. "Good morning, Mr. Harper. My name is Jonathan Mercer, and I represent Sterling Motors, one of the leading automotive firms in the region. I understand you're a man who believes in quality work and uncompromising integrity." The words, precise and deliberate, filled the small room, echoing through the space as if heralding the arrival of something extraordinary. Ethan's heart pounded with disbelief. "Sterling Motors? I'm no more than a humble mechanic," he replied, his tone mingling modesty with a flicker of hope. Jonathan continued, outlining a plan that felt almost too serendipitous to be real. Sterling Motors was looking for someone with Ethan's skills, a master of his craft who combined technical prowess with a genuine commitment to helping others. In light of a recent expansion, they were offering him an opportunity to join their elite team. The job, described as a role that promised both personal fulfillment and professional growth, was positioned as Ethan's dream job. As the call ended, Ethan's mind raced with conflicting emotions. Was this the result of his simple act of kindness that had set wheels in motion beyond his wildest expectations? The phone call, both unexpected and invigorating, felt like a ripple in time, a sign that fate had a way of rewarding those who never wavered in their commitment to doing what was right. Throughout the day, every turn in the workshop seemed charged with new significance. Every tool clanged a little brighter, every car purr a little smoother. Ethan found himself replaying the conversation repeatedly, his mind searching for clues that connected his recent act of compassion to this unprecedented opportunity. A whisper of doubt crept in. Was it mere coincidence? Or had that stranger, whose eyes once brimmed with gratitude, been more than a desperate traveler in need? Perhaps he had been a messenger of fate, a harbinger of change. By late afternoon, Ethan had nearly completed a particularly challenging engine repair, but his thoughts were not with the clattering machinery before him. Instead, he sat quietly at his workbench, his calloused hands pausing over a stubborn bolt, as he contemplated the mysterious connection between his actions and the opportunity now unfolding. It was then that a familiar memory surfaced, the grateful smile of the stranger, the spark in his eyes as he drove away in his restored car. That memory, infused with the pure, unadulterated magic of a selfless deed, reminded Ethan that the universe often repays kindness in the most unexpected ways. As twilight descended, painting the sky with streaks of purple and orange, Ethan finally decided to prepare for the next step. He drafted an email to Sterling Motors, thanking them for the incredible opportunity and expressing his eagerness to prove that the qualities they valued in a mechanic were indeed embodied in his work and life. With each keystroke, he felt both the weight of responsibility and the buoyancy of possibility. The message, sincere and thoughtful, was a reflection of a man who had spent years honing not just his technical skills but also his character. The following morning, as the city stirred to life under a crisp, clear sky, a new email notification brought with it a surge of excitement. Sterling Motors was impressed by his detailed account of experiences and the humble yet determined manner in which he spoke of his work. They invited him for an in-person interview at their headquarters, a modern building that shimmered with glass and steel, a stark contrast to the rustic charm of Ethan's workshop. The invitation was more than a professional opportunity. It was an affirmation that the values of hard work and integrity could indeed open doors to dreams once thought unreachable. In preparation for the interview, Ethan meticulously polished his resume and practiced his responses, each word infused with the quiet passion of a craftsman who truly cared about his craft. His friends and family, though initially taken aback by the sudden turn of events, offered their support with pride and encouragement. They recalled the many times he had gone out of his way to help a neighbor or repair a car free of charge for a struggling community member. Every story, every act of kindness had led him to this moment, a moment where his true worth was finally recognized. Yet, beneath the buoyant optimism, a quiet sense of introspection prevailed. Ethan knew that regardless of the outcome of this interview, his life was forever changed by the lessons he had learned in his small, unassuming workshop. The art of fixing a car was, in many ways, akin to mending broken dreams. Each repair, each careful adjustment, was an opportunity to rebuild not just metal and machinery but the fragile hopes of a human heart. With the interview scheduled for later that week, Ethan took a deep breath and prepared to step into a future filled with promise and uncertainty. As he locked up his shop that evening, the city around him seemed to shimmer with an energy that was both familiar and new, a reminder that the universe often unfolds in mysterious ways for those who dare to be kind. And so, with a heart both anxious and hopeful, he embarked on the next phase of his journey, one that would test not only his skills as a mechanic but the very essence of his character. Ethan's story was evolving into a testament to the unpredictable yet profoundly beautiful nature of life, where even the simplest acts of goodwill could lead to extraordinary opportunities. As the night embraced the quiet streets, he walked home under a canopy of twinkling stars, each one a silent witness to the unfolding of his dream. The morning of the interview arrived with an air of electrifying possibility. Ethan, dressed in his best attire, a crisp, clean shirt that still carried a hint of oil and grease as a quiet reminder of his humble roots, stepped into the gleaming lobby of Sterling Motors. The building's modernity was a stark contrast to his modest workshop, and its reflective surfaces seemed to mirror both his aspirations and the challenges that lay ahead. As he waited in a sleek reception area filled with understated elegance, his mind wandered back to every kind deed he had ever performed. Each act of goodwill, however small, had led him to this very moment. A few minutes later, he was greeted by Jonathan Mercer, the authoritative yet warm presence from their phone conversation. Jonathan's handshake was firm and reassuring, and his eyes held the promise of opportunity. "Ethan, thank you for coming today," he said, leading him into a spacious conference room adorned with glass panels and hints of modern art. "We've seen your work, not just in terms of mechanics, but in the way you treat every challenge with integrity and passion." The interview unfolded like a carefully orchestrated dialogue, where Ethan's every answer revealed not only his technical prowess, but also the depth of his character. He spoke of long nights in the shop, of cars that were more than machines. They were symbols of hope and second chances. Jonathan listened intently, nodding as if each story reinforced the firm's belief in the human spirit. By the end of the conversation, it was evident that Ethan wasn't merely applying for a job. He was sharing a journey of perseverance and compassion. Within days, the decision was made. Sterling Motors extended an offer that seemed almost surreal, a position that promised not only a stable income and career growth, but also the chance to lead a team dedicated to excellence. Ethan accepted with a heart swelling with gratitude, knowing that this opportunity was not just a reward for his skills, but a recognition of his commitment to a life of service and kindness. Ethan's first day on the job was a mixture of nervous excitement and determined focus. He found himself in a vast, state-of-the-art service center bustling with activity, a world where technology and tradition coexisted harmoniously. His colleagues, a diverse group of professionals, greeted him with genuine warmth, and he quickly realized that here, respect was earned not by credentials alone, but by the authenticity of one's spirit. Every interaction was an affirmation of his belief that hard work and kindness could break through even the most rigid barriers. As weeks turned into months, Ethan flourished in his new role. He took on challenges with the same gentle determination he had always shown in his shop, and soon, his reputation at Sterling Motors became synonymous with reliability and compassion. The company recognized his innate ability to bring out the best in both people and machinery, and he was entrusted with mentoring younger technicians, imparting not only technical wisdom but the timeless lesson that every car, like every person, deserved a second chance. His journey became a living testament to the idea that the repair of a broken engine could mirror the mending of a broken spirit. One crisp autumn evening, after a particularly demanding day filled with complex repairs and unexpected setbacks, Ethan found a quiet moment in a secluded corner of the service center's garden. The twilight sky was a tapestry of deep blues and soft purples, and the gentle hum of distant conversations filled the air with a serene backdrop. It was here, beneath the calming glow of old street lamps, that he allowed himself to reflect on the remarkable chain of events that had transformed his life. From a chance encounter with a stranger in need, to a phone call that changed his destiny, every step of his journey had been guided by an invisible hand, a reminder that fate often rewards those who dare to be kind. In that moment of introspection, Ethan penned a few lines in his worn leather notebook. Every act of kindness sows a seed that may one day bloom into a miracle. In the tapestry of life, even the smallest thread can weave a story of hope. These words, simple yet profound, were not just a reflection of his experiences, but a message meant for all who sought solace and inspiration in their own lives. As his thoughts drifted into the night, Ethan's mind returned to the countless faces he had encountered. The grateful stranger whose car he had fixed, the weary souls who found comfort in his repairs, and the eager young technicians who looked up to him as a mentor. He realized that his journey was far from over. it was only beginning to unfold its deeper mysteries. With every car he restored, he wasn't just fixing metal and engines. He was nurturing the potential for a brighter, kinder future. The transformation that began in a small, unassuming workshop had blossomed into a career that enriched not only his own life, but also the lives of many others. Sterling Motors had become more than just a workplace. It was a community of individuals bound by the shared belief that quality, integrity, and compassion were the true hallmarks of success. And in this thriving environment, Ethan's heart found a home that celebrated every repair, every act of kindness, as a victory over despair and a beacon of hope for the future. Before concluding this incredible journey, I want to take a moment to speak directly to you, our valued viewers. If Ethan's story has touched your heart or inspired you to believe in the power of kindness and perseverance, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share this story with someone who might need a little encouragement today. Your support helps us continue to bring these meaningful narratives to life, and every click is a step toward a community built on hope and inspiration. As the night deepened, Ethan closed his notebook and gazed up at the starlit sky. In the gentle silence, he found solace knowing that the ripple of his kindness would continue to touch lives in ways he could hardly imagine. His dream job had not only given him financial stability, but had reaffirmed his belief in the beauty of a life dedicated to service. With a quiet smile and a determined heart, he stepped back into the world, ready to embrace whatever new challenges and wonders awaited him. And so, under the soft glow of 1,000 distant stars, Ethan's journey reached a fulfilling crescendo, a reminder that every act of generosity, no matter how small, carries the potential to ignite miracles. His story, woven with threads of resilience and compassion, stands as a timeless testament to the transformative power of kindness, inspiring us all to fix not just the broken machines in our lives, but the broken pieces of our hearts.